Mew, it's really hard to like make you the feature of my video if you don't look at the camera. The camera's like right there. Go ahead. Go ahead. Fuck. I feel like this is gonna be one of those like paranormal activity movies where you can see Mew like back there crawling around, and I'm like just obnoxiously like looking forward and not paying any attention to what's around me. So I know it's been a while since I've done YouTube videos, and I gotta admit, editing videos is not one of my favorite things to do. Spending a lot of time like splicing videos together and making sure that gameplay fits the music really well. Like I enjoy it to a fault, but I don't want to spend all my time doing that stuff. I'd rather talk about my personal opinion of games. That's what's most important in having the discussion about them. So I was gonna write a top 10. I was gonna write the top 10 games of 2020. But as I kept looking at my list, I kept seeing a bunch of games and I was like, I don't really know if these are gonna be that good. I do believe that we're overhyping a handful of these games and we need to talk about it. So I'm gonna take 5 games on my list that I thought were gonna be excellent games, and I'm gonna take the other 5 that I don't really trust are gonna be that good. Now don't get me wrong, I hope that all these games are amazing. I love games, I don't want any game to fail, but we do gotta talk about the games that we can't just automatically assume are gonna be excellent. There are reasons to believe that some of these games are gonna be masterpieces, and some of these games we're definitely overhyping because we like the idea of them. So I think we should definitely start with the game that I know for a fact is going to be the best game of 2020, The Last of Us Part 2. You know, I've said this for many years, you should always trust a developer until they give you a reason not to trust them anymore. For me, like I don't trust EA anymore. They burnt me with Battlefront 2 and a bunch of other games. I really don't trust Ubisoft that much because they beat Assassin's Creed to a pulp. And there are other developers, while they don't make horrible games, I'm just not really a big fan, and I don't think that they've made anything that's going to change my mind, like Bethesda. I'm not the biggest Elder Scrolls fan. I'm not the biggest Fallout fan, so I don't really trust that they're going to change my mind anytime soon. Just because the series is going in a better direction doesn't mean that that game's going to fit me automatically. However, when I think about a company like Naughty Dog, they've given us every reason to trust them and not a single reason to doubt them. Like if you think about all their games, they're all masterpieces. Crash Bandicoot's great, Uncharted's great, Last of Us is great, Jak and Daxter's great. And even if you weren't the biggest fan of The Last of Us, you can at least understand why it got the critical acclaim that it did. I kind of feel like people are putting this game under the radar a little bit. Like I don't know how you can have any doubt that this game is going to be a perfect 10. Naughty Dog makes gold, and I trust that this game is going to be nothing but gold. And I trust that this game is going to be as good, if not their best game that they've ever made, and that's saying something. Now this is probably going to surprise a lot of people, but one of the games I really don't trust is Cyberpunk 2077. I don't think I've ever seen a game get this much hype without that much credibility behind it. Like we all love CD Projekt Red, and we all kind of love Witcher. A lot of people who are excited about this game didn't really play Witcher. I can't deny that Witcher 3 is one of the best games I've ever played. That said, it's really the only great game that CD Projekt Red has made, and they don't really have much else outside of that. Witcher 1 is very forgettable. Witcher 2 is good, but it's a little dated. And outside of some of the gameplay I've seen, I really don't understand why everybody's already crowning this to be the best game of the year. From all the stuff that I've seen, it doesn't really look that much different than other Western RPGs we've played before. And I know everybody's freaking out about like, oh my god, Keanu Reeves is amazing. Celebrities in games aren't that rare. Like a lot of this stuff has happened before in games, and I think the internet just gets really rock hard over Keanu Reeves, and I don't really understand why. Like where is the root of all this excitement coming from? The CG trailers? Well no shit, a lot of CG trailers are supposed to make a game look better than it is anyway. Like outside of the setting, I really don't see this being that much different than a game like Outer Worlds or Fallout. Like it just looks like another Western RPG that looks interesting enough, but not a game changer. Honestly, I bet a lot of gamers probably couldn't tell the difference between this and Deus Ex if they've never seen Deus Ex before. And you know, maybe it's on me. Maybe I have not seen enough about the game to really understand it. However, a lot of people I've talked about who really are excited about it don't know what this game is. They're just more excited for the idea of Cyberpunk, whatever the fuck that ends up being. It gets even more frustrating when most of these people who are excited didn't even play Witcher. Like, what are you talking about? How can you be this excited about this game and you've never played anything by this developer and you're just assuming it's gonna be good? Look, I'm not trying to hate on the game. I think the game's gonna be fine. I think it's gonna be pretty good, if not great. My only thing is, they need to prove that this game is going to be great before we just assume that it's great. With The Last of Us, we know that Naughty Dog makes amazing games. And with CD Projekt Red, we know that they've made one very good game. Let's calm our expectations a little bit and wait till this game comes out before we start crowning it anything. So going back to games that I trust, one of the games is easily Animal Crossing New Horizons. The trust in this game comes directly from the fact that I have doubted Nintendo too much with the Switch. I remember when the Switch first came out with that awful trailer in Japan when they released the price and all that stuff. That looked horrible. I thought the Switch was going to fail. It ends up being one of the best consoles I've ever had. I remember watching all the Pokemon stuff. I hate Pokemon. I was so fed up with it. I thought for sure that this game was going to bomb. And yet here I am like 40 hours into it loving it. Like I can't stop playing Pokemon and it makes absolutely no sense. I have to own the fact that I was totally wrong about that game. And so here we are. They're coming out with a new Animal Crossing and it's been almost 8 years since we've had one. So there should be no doubt that this game is going to be just as good as New Leaf, if not significantly better. Like for me, I'm done. I'm done doubting them until they put out a bad game. And every game that they've put out that I've had questions about, Mario Maker 2, Luigi's Mansion 3, hell, even that weird Rabbids game, all of them have been really good, so I'm done doubting them. If you've had 8 years to work on a new Animal Crossing game, how could I ever believe that it's going to be anything short of excellent? Alright, getting back to games that I definitely don't trust. Halo Infinite. Look, if you didn't buy an Xbox One this generation, are you really that upset that you missed out on the past few Halo games? Like, I just don't think Halo holds up the same way anymore. Now, admittedly, I play a lot of Halo still. Like, the Master Chief Collection came out on PC, and I've been playing a lot of that with my friends. But I don't think Microsoft really understands where to go with Halo moving forward. I think they assume it's going to sell their new console, which it definitely is. Halo is a system seller. But as far as the gameplay is concerned and any of the new multiplayer features, it's probably just going to be Halo. And that's fine, but that's not great. And that's also why I have doubts about the game, because just Halo is not good enough anymore. We've only seen 2 CG trailers for the game, and honestly, that's kind of a red flag for me. Having no gameplay for a game that is supposed to be your system seller this close to release of your new console, that kind of makes me a little nervous that you don't really know what to do with your game, or you're afraid that we're going to figure out that it's just Halo, which is, again, not good enough for a new Halo on a next-gen console. Look, using Halo to sell the new Xbox is fine, but I don't believe this game's going to be anything that we haven't seen or played before. But hey, while we're on the topic of games that we've kind of played before, Resident Evil 3. Look, if you look back at Capcom over the past decade, they may be the best third-party developer in existence. You got Street Fighter V, you got Marvel vs. Capcom 3, Monster Hunter World, Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 2, Devil May Cry 5, Dragon's Dogma, Ace Attorney. These guys are criminally underrated. I don't really understand how that happened. I don't get how they aren't considered one of the most elite development teams in gaming. Resident Evil has had a renaissance in the past 3 years, and this should be as good, if not better, than RE2. Now, I don't think it's going to be very innovative, but this is a list of games I trust, and I trust wholeheartedly this game's going to carry the same quality as Resident Evil 2, which, by the way, was a Game of the Year nominee back in 2019. Going back to games I don't trust, what looked like garbage at E3 last year? Oh, that's right. Marvel's Avengers. Okay, outside of the voice cast, which I don't think is getting enough credit, has there been anything that good shown with this game so far? Like, whatever the hell that E3 presentation was last year at Square Enix show, it looked awful. None of the characters look that good. The gameplay looks as generic as all hell. Like, I don't understand how Square Enix thought that this was the best thing to show for their grand reveal of Marvel's Avengers. Plus, all the news about how they're adding heroes in this DLC plan just makes me cringe. It's also one of the worst times to put this game out. I mean, let's be honest, after Endgame, I think all of us are a little marveled out at this point. I know that doesn't have anything to do with this game, but it's going to be associated anyway, so I just don't trust that this is going to be the Marvel game that we actually deserve. I'm not saying I'm abandoning ship on this game, but I'm definitely checking on where the lifeboats are. Let's have a change of heart for a second. Persona 5 Royal. If you look at some of the RPGs Square Enix has put out over the past 10 years, outside of Octopath Traveler, they've been batting singles at best, while Atlas, on the other hand, has been knocking home runs out all decade. Persona 5 is easily the best RPG of the decade. I don't even think it's close. Now, I'll admit I'm a little disappointed that this is more of a port remaster, not a full sequel, but even all of the Persona spin-offs have been excellent, like Persona Q2 and Persona Dancing All Night, so I'm fine with replaying this masterpiece with some new paint. Seriously, they don't put out any bad games, so why would this be any different? Persona 5 Royal will please all the hardcore fans who love Persona, and everyone else who have no more excuses to have not played this masterpiece of a game. And honestly, more Persona is never a bad thing, as long as it eventually leads to a Persona 4 remake. No idea how badly I want a Persona 4 remake! Well, back to the doubt. Psychonauts 2. This game's development cycle has been a mess. First of all, I don't really trust Double Fine that much in their ability to put out excellent games. Secondly, they were just acquired by Microsoft, which felt like a bail us out kind of situation. We've barely seen much from this game, and every time we do, it's after long breaks, which doesn't stew confidence in the game being as good as the first. Even if this game is similar to the first, I don't think these kind of platformers hold up the same way. Like, if it doesn't have Mario Odyssey's depth and rewarding platforming system, it probably won't hold up as much as you'd think. Of all the games on this list, this is the one I'm really rooting for because this series just doesn't get enough credit. I remember a friend got me to play the first one, and she was beyond excited that they announced the sequel, so I'm cheering for it to be good. But once again, there's just too much confusion and not enough clarity with this game. So this last game I'm kind of up in the air, but I think I trust more than I doubt. Ghosts of Tsushima. So I have some doubts with this game. Like, we haven't seen a lot of gameplay, which is almost never a good sign, but I'm gonna go with my gut here and trust that Sucker Punch has always wanted to do this IP since Infamous, and what they have put together is going to blow us away. The visuals look impressive. Outside of maybe Sekiro, samurai gameplay hasn't really been done to a high level scale like this seems to, and the story looks dark and fascinating to me. Plus, for the most part, Sony's first-party titles tend to be pretty high-quality games. Even misses like Days Gone have done pretty well, and there are plenty of things to like in these games, so I think it's going to be good. I like Sly Cooper, I like Infamous. However, if we don't get a release date in the first 3 months of the year, you can take this one off the list. Alright, this one's really hard to put on the list because I love this franchise, but as my last game, like, I kind of have to be honest about this one. The last game that I have doubts about this year is Final Fantasy VII Remake. Look, I think it's fair to say that Square Enix is not what they used to be, and full disclosure, even though I'm a huge fan of the new Final Fantasies and Kingdom Hearts games, I kind of think this game looks like a pretty smoke and mirrors show. A lot of the design choices don't make a lot of sense with this game and how they've been talking about it, particularly the Part 1, Part 2, Part 3 conversations and how this game is so big that it's the equivalent of 2 full games. Like, what are you trying to convince us of? If this is a solid remake or remaster like Resident Evil 2 was, just show us more of that game and make it very clear what it is. Like, I don't get all this weird confusion about what this game is, and most of the confusion is because Square isn't being transparent with us. Now, a lot of the game is leaked and a lot of people have said that what they've seen looks really good, but with high expectations that a Final Fantasy VII Remake come with, you have to have some doubt, especially after Final Fantasy 15. That was pretty fun, wasn't it, Mew? You aren't you excited? Everybody's gonna yell at me because I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay, you don't have to give me that look either, man. Like, I get it. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. I know it's been a long time since I've done one of these and I'm pretty rusty and I tried this new format, yada yada yada. I just appreciate you guys kind of taking the time to hear my opinion, and I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Mew would too, wouldn't you? There you go. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below, and let me know what you think I should tackle next. One of the video ideas I had was comparing the Persona 4 cast to the Persona 5 cast, but we'll see how this one does and we'll go from there. Thank you guys so much, and catch you next time. You said goodbye. That's what cat language says. Say it again. That was good off me.